Welcome to LBC Podcast. I'm Marcelo,
I'm Lindsay Velasquez.
and our guest for today.
I'm Arthur Osorio.
And today we're going to be interviewing Arthur, who is a IB senior, about their experiences with IB. So,
Also,
what questions do we have?
Elephant in the room. Kiana's not here.
Yeah, she couldn't make
But-
it. Her computer was buggy.
Yeah.
How dare she?
She's
Honestly.
here in spirit.
Yes, in spirit. Very
In
much.
spirit.
I should have prepared some questions for you. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head.
That's what I assumed we were going to do. I didn't prepare anything.
Oh my god. But IB y'all. And what about it? Literally, okay, last
Tell us,
episode.
what do you think about IB?
Yeah. Tell us
What do
your
you think
opinion,
of it?
thoughts.
Tell us your opinion. Give us that really raw and
Honestly,
I forgot the word emotions you have towards
Emotion.
IB.
the raw emotional take on IB,
Yes.
it's a love-hate relationship. Like, honestly, it's a toxic relationship with IB. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, when you're in the moment, there's so many things about IB that I miss so much that I used to adore. Like, the freedom you got in certain classes where you didn't feel like you were just doing an assignment, where you actually feel like you had some freedom on what to choose and what to do was
Yeah.
amazing. The fact that some of the teachers treated you like you were just another human being instead of like talking down to you just because you're a professor was also amazing. But the workload, the sleepless nights, the skipped meals to finish that book, that wasn't so great. So it was like there were parts of it that were amazing and I miss so much, but there are parts of it that I don't miss at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's like, I guess it does feel nice to be respected by the teachers, but at the same time, it's like, it's a lot of work. I've never really slept late because of IB, because I never allowed myself. I was like, I'm not gonna be one of those people that sleeps late because I have to do homework. No, I'm stopping at a certain time, and if I, like, I just never wanted to
Same.
do that.
Same. I've been
but-
trying not to be the person. Like, I hear everybody talking about
Yeah.
that they're up till like midnight or like 2 a.m, and I'm like,
I'm like,
good God,
never.
how do you do that?
That's
Every single
weak. I was
day.
up. That's weak. I was up till 3 a.m. and then skipped lunch just to finish the assignment.
I go to bed at like straight at like 10 o'clock. I'm like, if the work isn't done, I'm doing it before school.
Yeah, but I also feel like I guess my classes are a little bit easier than most, just because I didn't double up in sciences or anything. Like, I'm taking 3 languages, and languages, I mean, it's like, it's not that bad. So it's like, or 3 languages including English. So it's like,
Yeah, I was
you
about to
know?
say, like, are you taking German?
No. I'm taking English, French, and Spanish. So it's like all the, like, they're like the basic languages. So it's like the
Overachiever.
easy stuff,
The base.
Wait. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know, but yeah, I guess I get when maybe people that doubled up in sciences, they're like, oh yeah, like, oh, I have sleepless nights, but I try not to do that. It's too much. I couldn't do it.
So tell
But
us a
yeah,
little bit more. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, I just wanted to say, like, IB is a big challenge. So anyone that wanted to do it, like, the only reason I would recommend for someone to do it is if they like feel maybe like bored, and if they feel like they would be bored in AP classes. At least that's what I think. But I wouldn't actually recommend it for anyone if they're like, oh, this is gonna look good on college apps, because it does look good, but at the same time, it's like AP classes as well look good on college apps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
IB is a big commitment, and I don't have anything against AP. I do believe AP classes are very hard. But the thing is
Yeah.
that you have to remember that there's a lot of extra stuff that we do that AP kids don't do, like CAS hours, like our CAS project, all your IAs, your EE, all of those things piled on top of it. It's just a big commitment. And if you're
And
somebody
then the
who's
final,
lucky
the
because
exams at the end.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
And then all of that together contributes to your final grades in the coursework and whether in your candidacy for the diploma itself.
exactly. So it's like a thing of like if you're somebody who's like, oh, I might do it because my parents want me to, or
Oh,
I don't know, I don't really want to do it, but might as well. Then you're probably gonna, no offense, end up dropping out because it's
Yeah.
like you really have to have the commitment to go through with it.
Yeah,
So-
that's definitely true.
So that brings me on to my question, Arthur. What made you do IB?
So there, depressive warning. I got bullied in middle school really, really badly. So I just wanted a way out, not to end up through the high school I was so into, which was Klein Forest. But it was also like I always took pre-IP classes, and they were really, really easy for me. I used to like not pay. I would just show up to my science class, barely pay attention, go to the test, and score the highest every time. Didn't study, didn't do anything. I was just basically showing up and getting punished in my classes. And that was just really, really boring for me. And I just wanted something that actually required me to put in work, and it didn't feel like so bleh, lackluster and boring.
Yeah.
I can totally
Yeah, that-
understand that.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up getting into it. I just heard about it. It was the first year at Kleb that they were like, "Hey, you guys can sign up for the IB program," and I was one of the few people who actually signed up for it. Like of the giant cafeteria of kids who signed up, I think there were like 5 of us from Kleb
Damn.
who signed up.
Yeah.
Honestly, mood. I was like one of the also 5 people for Wonderlic who ended up in IB.
Yeah. For me, I also went to Wonderlic, and I didn't want to go to Klein Forest because I just heard that like Klein Forest was like a not that good of a environment, you could say. And I like in middle school, I guess I was just so shy in middle school, and I didn't talk to anyone. So I was like, if I go to IB, maybe I'll like, I don't know, reinvent myself. So
You definitely don't seem shy, so I think something changed there.
I'm shy occasionally, but I'm not as shy as I was in middle school. Like middle school, I only had like 2 or 3 friends. It was yeah. But now I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone.
I have a question. On the scale of reinventing yourself, what's the next step? Shaving your head or getting a mullet?
I don't even know.
No, you should do what my
Honest-
sister did. You should just shave like one half and go for like the half edgy look. But then like if you ever need to like not look edgy, you just flip the other half back over. That's what she did.
I'm
That-
not really into that. Well, for me, I'm more like because that kind of style is kind of like it kind of looks like a side part. And I'm not really a side part gal I used to be, but I changed it up. You see,
Ivy
reinventing myself.
changed me.
I part my hair in the middle now. It changed me so much.
It did. It changed my life. No, but I don't know. I've been considering maybe one day shaving my head, but I was like, I don't know. But currently on the changing myself, reinventing, I kind of just want to cut my hair short because I've always had long hair because my mom is really weird about long hair.
But how short are we going? Like, because no offense, but sometimes people are like, "Oh, I want to cut my hair short," and they have it halfway down their back, and they do like here. And it's like when I went short, I went from halfway down the back to like here. So
Yeah, I wouldn't go that short. When I say short, I'm like the basic, like, okay, just like till here.
You know,
I kind
like,
of want to get like like those shag looks that are like popular right now, where they're like, I don't even know. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but like the shag look, that's what I want.
okay.
it may.
Sorry, I kind of get what you're talking about, but like I'm also on the edgy side of TikTok. So like it's the look you're talking about, but with a mullet.
I'm too scared to like get a mullet out of it. It's just like very terrifying. It's like a big commitment, but also shaving your head is a big commitment. So I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
You know, I actually, it doesn't look like it now, but I actually used to have hair where my bangs went down to just under my chin. And how I would have my hair normally is I would comb it back, and my bangs would actually reach almost all the way to the back of my head.
That's impressive.
But yeah, and my sides were shaved. And then if I ever wanted to, I could actually do a wavy bob cut.
I
Just by
actually
parting it.
I had my hair like that once, so it's really versatile. Except if you have curly hair, then it doesn't do what you.
I'm sad I don't have my long hair anymore because unlike you, I didn't have a choice and got my head shaved.
Oh,
That wasn't my choice to get it shaved. And
Oh.
not once shaved, but about 6 times now.
Well,
Oh,
hopefully you'll be-
are you planning on growing it out again?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Let's just hope it doesn't get shaved again. It's taken 3 months to grow it back out.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna take a while, huh?
Well, it's because it keeps getting shaved like repeatedly. To like, because like actually I did have my hair shaved like halfway, where the sides were just shaved, but my older brother managed to screw it up. And he shaved just a
Oh.
little bit too much. Like he literally shaved a rectangle on the side of my head to the skin, and he was gonna just leave it alone and not tell me.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I was like, good God, if you had one job. And I couldn't see it because it was in just the right angle that whenever I looked at it, my ear covers it. So no matter which way I looked, it was just behind my ear. But like everybody else could clearly see like a rectangle cut out.
You could have been like, it's just a new look. You wouldn't get it.
It's-
Yeah. It's like a cool little thing that I'm trying out.
Okay,
you
boomer,
nerds would
this
not
is the new
understand.
look.
Exactly.
This defines me. This is who I am.
I am triangle hair boy, okay? Bro,
I
don't
don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
come at me.
I used to have
I-
a mohawk. Oh my God, that was crazy.
Another thing you could have done is that you could have gotten more rectangles up there to make it like a pattern and make it match.
True. But then
Ooh.
again, my older brother has a very unsteady hand, as
Oh.
shown by the fact that he cut a rectangle in it.
It
You know,
probably
I could
it
probably cut my own hair better than that. I'm using my. I actually did one time. I have to like. He was about to cut it wrong. I was like, stop it. And I took it. And I'm like, it was like cutting my own hair.
Yeah, I feel like it looked very pine cone like if he did do like just a bunch of little triangles in his hair. Oh my god.
All right. Well, we detracted a little bit from the subject there, just a little bit. Well, that's every single episode. So, what is our next question?
Okay. What was your worst and maybe possibly best IB year?
Like a score or class?
Just like in general, like which year did you feel was your worst? Like I guess, and which one did you feel was maybe like better, or maybe you didn't have a better year?
My best year was probably the first semester of my senior year. I was doing great because I had finally gotten mental help for like my depression and my anxiety. So I was finally feeling like I was reaching my full potential. And then COVID hit, and then
Oh,
that sucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways, my worst year, it'll probably be tied between my freshman year and my junior year, because at both of those times I was living with a guardian and the guardian kicked me out of home. So that's why it was worse. And it was not because of the workload, but it was because so many things were going on my personal life that made it almost impossible to be able to keep up with the workload.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised you didn't say like sophomore year too, just because I feel like everyone is always like sophomore year is the worst.
Well, when I compared the worst thing from like Miss Rushing not teaching me
Mhm.
chemistry the way that I understand to getting kicked out of home and having to figure
Yeah,
out
that is very true.
one little bit worse than the other.
That is very true. That is
definitely
very true.
chemistry.
Oh yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
No, it was just the if we're going based upon school alone and taking away the personal life, then yeah, probably chemistry was the worst class, and it still haunts my nightmares to this day.
Yeah, definitely. It haunts everyone's nightmares, other than those weird like chemistry geeks.
You know,
but,
Miss Rushing is actually like really nice and stuff like outside of chemistry.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
one of my
definitely.
IAs I'm doing for her, not a chemistry IA, I'm doing my computer science IA, but she's my client for my computer science IA.
No, she's so sweet. She's so amazing. She's so kind, but I can't follow the way she teaches. And I don't know if that's on me, but it just, yeah.
No, most people can't follow the way she teaches. It's like, it's just, she's very, I guess, teach yourself kind of, and then she'll like give mini almost seminar classes. It's very collegiate, you know? and it's like it's just not the way I learn. At least a lot of people couldn't learn from her, but
Fun
This is
fact, she was the one who interviewed me for whenever I was getting into IB.
oh wow.
oh yeah.
Yeah. She was the one who interviewed me and stuff. So that was pretty fun.
I actually have a question for you two. Who's the new senior IB English teacher?
Munger. Was she not the senior IB teacher last year? Or
We have-
year?
We had Garner, because Garner proved
Oh.
the year.
Yeah, Garner really pulled a fast one. She like left without even saying goodbye. I was like I was really looking forward to her class this year because I was like, I don't know, everyone, I don't know, she was just like really nice and everything. I was like, okay, like it'd be fun to have her. But then she just absolutely left us in the dust.
I mean, like we got Ms. Munger for like what, 3 years now.
I've never had Miss Munger. This is my first year with Miss Munger.
Oh, really?
Miss
I've had Ms.
Munger.
Munger for so long.
I had Miss Munger once, but I worked a lot with her for like Scholastic, and I always visited her to show her my art.
Oh yeah.
I like her
Wow.
class. Her class is pretty fun.
She's-
Her class was the first time I got over a 90 in English. Because I've always sucked at English. Like it is my worst class. Yeah, it's always been a lot of trouble for me because I have a lot of trouble with grammar rules.
Grammar.
Specifically grammar rules, and I also have a lot of trouble with the rigidity of how teachers expect us to do reading comprehension, because it leaves no room for your own interpretation, and makes it where you basically have to think like the teacher whenever answering the questions rather than thinking as an individual or thinking in a way that a normal person would. Because I found like most of the tests, it's like they would give the answers and I'd be like, well, there's two valid answers. And I'm like, well, I can explain my point for this and I can point out why the other one's wrong. And then they'll be like, well, this one's more right though. And I'm like, but why? And they're like, it's just more right.
Yeah, I don't like that English teachers do that. It's like, I feel like that's a more, I don't know, that's just not fair to do in English, where they're like, they give two technically right answers, but one of them is more right. But it's like, English is all about interpretation, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
It would make sense like doing it in a history class, because then there can be a like more right answer because maybe it's more specific, but not in English.
I still get frustrated with it with history because history is a slightly more concrete thing, but it's not quite. There are different interpretations to it, but relatively speaking, it's a lot more concrete than the interpretation of English.
yeah, definitely.
All right.
Philosophy, though. That's where you can bring in questions like you could be like, well, one's more right than the other, which reminds me.
Honestly, I actually kind of missed TOK. I'll be completely honest.
That's what I was about to ask. What were your thoughts of TOK?
So, I mean, no offense, but I feel like this is everyone. When you first walk into TOK, you're like, what? Excuse me, what? But honestly, TOK was actually a lot of fun for me. I love philosophy, so TOK was just really, it was so like up to interpretation and so like eye-opening that it was really, really enjoyable. And this is completely unrelated, but I'm taking a psychology class right now in college. And I walked in and this unit's like, did you know you can't trust memory as much as you think you can? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I took TOK. We did an entire session on this. Like,
yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, I feel
foolish people. I've already done this.
also,
I feel like, oh, sorry. I feel like everyone enters TOK kind of like, I don't know. Like, at least I did. Well, I mostly like entered TOK kind of weary about it just because everyone else was kind of weary about it. And so like I don't know, everyone was kind of influencing me to just be like, it's not going to be that fun. And I kind of wish, like, I don't know, I kind of wish I enjoyed it more just because it is a kind of fun class to, be in, just because you learn about so much and you look, like you said, you look at different perspectives on things, and it's just an interesting class. But I feel like, I don't know, but I heard from this girl, she I think she took TOK in France, and she said she like loved it because her teacher would do like games and everything like in the class. And I feel like maybe America, or at least our school TOK. I wish it was a little bit more interactive in that way, just because I was like, oh, that'd be so much fun if we like could play little games in TOK but learn at the same time.
Actually, I was gonna say party trick you can use if you're having an argument with people. Just throw in TOK fallacies and they'll shut them up. I was having an argument with this girl and she's like, but how do you know? And I just dropped the name of the argumentum ad hominem or something like that. And she looked at me like I grew a third head. She's like, what? And I'm like, you're attacking me, not my argument, thus making your argument useless. So please find a better argument.
That is so true. I after learning about all of the fallacies, literally TikTok just bombarded me with like how much fallacies are just very prevalent in our lives, in arguments constantly. And it's like, how do we not realize this? How do we not know about this? You know what I mean? It's like we should be learning this in elementary school so that we can be getting on those bullies. Oh
No, honestly, I feel like some of the IB classes teaches us a lot more about actually how to go out and like, live a life rather than the actual high school curriculum would.
No, I absolutely do agree with that. And I've had friends who take AP, and I'm sure if you talk to anybody who's graduated, they'll end up agreeing with the sentiment. Is that because IB classes tend to be so independent and give you so much freedom? The best example I'll use is my art class, because this was actually physics, so the STEM kids won't come after me. Be like, art isn't a valuable class. Anyways, like your IA, it's like, okay, do an IA over whatever you want. It has so much freedom and it has so much like your professors treat you as an equal, and you are honestly in charge of your like deadline, because you have to write down your deadlines and the teachers won't be like reminding you constantly, and they give you the information and they do give you like tests and quizzes, but a lot of the extra stuff we do is very like independent. Like EEs, you entirely drive the entire process. Nobody's there like holding your hand. You have like the core deadlines, but if you don't meet them, you're kind of screwed. So because of all that like freedom and all those skills that you learn, time management, when you get to college, it becomes like really easy. Like my first semester, because I'm doing online, I ended up like working a month ahead because I was so used to the IB workload that I just did the work for like a month and then just spent that entire month playing video games instead. And I have friends in AP that are like, oh my god, I'm struggling, this is so hard, like the teacher isn't reminding me what to do things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel like IB has very much given us freedom with at least like time management, especially. But yeah.
So I want to ask, what is the transition from IB to college like?
Honestly, IB was harder. Like I'll be sitting in my college classes, be like, one, I don't like that a lot of the professors act like they're better just because they have a college degree. Like I miss when my professors treated me as an equal. I miss when my professors actually, taught me but weren't condescendingly like, oh, I'm better. And I miss when my classes actually used to challenge me and make me learn things instead of just being borderline boring. This is an example. I'm taking an art class as an elective this year, and I took IB art. I HL'd in it. I'm an artist. I love art. And I miss my art class so much because our teacher would give us an assignment. Basically, the assignment would be like, hey, here's clay, make something. It was so much freedom. You could do whatever you want. You were in charge, just make it by the deadlines. And all that freedom just really made me feel independent. And nowadays I'm in my art class and the teacher will be like, here's this photo. I want you to copy it almost perfectly the same. Like no creative freedom, no freedom at all. And whenever he grades us, he just seems like, oh, like if you don't do it perfectly, that's wrong. And that's not how my old art teacher used to be. So it's just, I hate that professors treat you less than, and I hate that the classes don't actually feel like they're challenging, or like that the professors actually listen to you and care about you. I don't know if you relate to this, but it sometimes feels like the IB curriculum molds itself to each individual. Like we're all taking the same class, but we all still manage to make it individually different. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true, just because I guess in a sense, all of us kind of study different, and I guess we learn different. So obviously we do the classes different. We take our own different paces to do the work. So yeah, we definitely all mold the classes to different paces for us, I guess.
Exactly, and that's what sort of makes it a little bit more fun because it suddenly feels like even though we're in the class of 20 students, everyone's getting equal attention. Meanwhile, in the
Mhm.
college classes, there it feels so rigid that it's just borderline boring.
Yeah. What college are you going to, by the way?
I don't have to answer your question.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
dang.
Well, I'm just asking just because, oh, I don't know if you're in the Ivy League. Can you at least answer a question? Are you in the Ivy League?
I don't have to answer your question.
Well, I'm asking
Dang.
just because I'm like, I know a lot of, or at least I entered IB because I was like, okay, maybe I'll have more of a chance to enter an Ivy League school. And for me, that wasn't really true. Like I didn't, I know that a lot of my classmates in IB did get into Ivy Leagues, but for me personally, I was top 10% and all of that, but I still, again, am not in an Ivy League. I'm not going to Ivy League school. So,
I'll answer your question. I want to be an animator, so
mhm.
I didn't apply to Harvard, Yale. Yeah, STEM majors come for me, tell me how art is a viable career. Um, I applied to some of the top art colleges, and I got in a lot of them.
Mhm.
But art college is expensive. It's like $30,000 sorry, $60,000 a year, $30,000 a semester, so I couldn't
Yeah.
realistically afford it, so I instead decided to get a associate and save up to art for art college. So I'm currently like doing an associate's at one start, and if you're doing that, fun fact, your Ivy credits give you the entire first year. So
Oh
like
yeah, in
I get
Yeah.
Texas schools, it gives you the first year.
I know, so I'll be done with my associates after the semester.
Wait,
I
did
mean,
you pass all your IB exams?
Yeah, I passed all my Ivy exams.
Okay.
for
That's
me, honestly, I've seen
cool.
like a lot of IB. Honestly, I think has helped me a lot with colleges and stuff because, I mean, like I applied only to 3 colleges. I got into 2 of them, so
Mhm.
yeah, and there it's really been helping me out with like financial aid too, because they gave me my merit-based scholarships, and my merit-based scholarships for both of them cut my cost almost completely in half. And
Yeah,
then like needs-based came in right after, and needs-based almost cut them to nothing.
yeah, that's I got a lot of merit scholarships, but it was still not enough to cover. Uh, so that sucked. But no, mm, I here's where I have mixed feelings. Where like even though I applied to an art college, and I'm sure that IB is way, way, way more helpful if you're applying to like a STEM oriented field.
Yeah.
Even though you might think that IB is useless or you're planning on getting an art degree, the time management, and especially if you take classes like IB art, you really, really learn to express and understand yourself as an artist, and it helps push you. So even though when I applied to my art colleges, I I like got almost no credits transferred because our colleges for some reason transfer even less credits than Ivy League. Like our college will be like, we'll only think about it if you have an IB diploma. We won't take your art class, and we will only take classes that have a 5 or higher.
Oh yeah, I've seen that with some other schools. They have very specific requirements
Yeah, it's tough.
for how to accept it.
But honestly, even if you think you might, be going to a more artistic field or a field like that won't get as many credits transfer as by the skills you learn along the way, the time management skills, the skills where you sort of become able to teach yourself things if you need be, if your professor's not on top of you constantly, and the just growth you do as a person due to all the freedom and being treated as an equal by your professors can really like help you with college in those sense. You're not a freshman in college struggling because you don't know how to time manage. thriving while your friends might be struggling. So it's, to me, still worth it, even for just the skills you learn, if you don't end up getting credits out of it.
Yeah. And it's definitely, for me, it was really difficult just because I just had like a lot of like mental health, like it was just not very good, especially again my sophomore year. Like I had intense panic attacks for like the first time in my life because of IB. And I don't know, I felt like this kind of almost sense of I need to stay in IB because it, like I just need to. But for anyone that's maybe kind of like going through IB or thinking about going through IB, like obviously you're going to have those moments of, yeah, like, oh my God, this is a lot of workload. And maybe you're going to have panic attacks like I did. And maybe you can get through it like I did. But if you really think you can't, it's okay if you like quit. It's not the end of the world. You know, like honestly, I'm glad I didn't quit. But at the same time, it was like if I had, that would have been perfectly fine as well. You know what I mean? So I just want to get it out there where it's like, if you really don't think you can, like you don't do it. My brother actually, he was doing IB, but he dropped out just because he was like, this is just too much for me personally, and I personally cannot, like I don't think my mental health would be able to withstand like more years of this. So he dropped out, and I was like, okay, like that's a valid point. Like if you sincerely feel like your mental health cannot take it, then that's okay too. You
IB
know, because
will
IB
only
is
help
very
if you can do it.
stressed. Yeah.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
try and push yourself to do something you can't.
Yeah.
And it's not like in any way like a defeat or failure or anything. It's just that
Mhm.
it's just one step too high. And sorry, continue.
You're good. That's absolutely valid. And I'm one of those kids. Like, trigger warning, professor, any teacher watching this, anyone who's depressed, you might want to skip the next 10 seconds. I tried to kill myself while I was in high school. And like absolutely, like don't push yourself. If you think it's too much, don't be like me. Like I would wake up and be like, I wish I was dead, and come back, do all my homework, and I'm like, I wish I was dead. And honestly, probably the reason why I'm not is because I ended up being like, okay, I should probably get mental health help because I'm at the border of like ending me. So don't push yourself harder than you think you might be able to. And if you're getting to a place where you're having panic attacks, absolutely try to reach out and get mental health help. Because at least for me, I was near the breaking point, and getting a therapist and getting a psychiatrist was what I needed to be able to accomplish this. So give that a try. But even if with a support system, it's still too much for you, don't feel guilty in having to take a step down, because sometimes it happens. Sometimes we have to take some steps back before we can take steps forward.
Yeah.
One of the most important things I've learned in high school is that you yourself comes above everything else. Your own personal health, and that's physical and mental health, because I've gone through issues with both of them, and yeah, it's not that's my personal advice to everyone. It's value those above everything else.
Absolutely. And the thing is that as somebody who did the opposite of you, don't think that getting the IB diploma, don't tell yourself, if I get an IB diploma, if I get a 4 in my physics class, then I'll suddenly be happy. If I just push through IB, suddenly everything will be sunshine and rainbows on the other side, because you'll push yourself through it, and then you'll get to the other side and you won't even be able to enjoy the accomplishments you achieved because you didn't take care of yourself. So now you did get the diploma, but you're stuck with all the feelings you repressed for 4 years, and now you have to do all the work that you've been putting on. Like ignoring mental health and telling yourself and bearing yourself with work is not a healthy coping mechanism. And when you finish IB, if you didn't take the time to actually take care of yourself, you'll be on the flip side having to do all that work because it won't magically go away. Having a diploma, being in the top 10% will not make your mental health better. That's something that you need to work on as much as you do your academics.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why a lot of like IB teachers are always saying, don't GPA game, like don't try to, like,
nobody in IB GPA games though.
And good thing, because if they did, imagine
we'd be so competitive.
We would be so cutthroat. We would literally be.
I already have like extreme anxiety, Like I just that's an
Yeah.
issue I have. Like I've got really I haven't gotten this treated at all or anything, but I've got such bad anxiety that like literally my nightmares are anxiety attacks, and I have like almost one every couple days.
Oh,
So
I mean,
it's not good, and I've been having them ever since sophomore year.
oh, that's
And
terrible.
usually my anxiety attacks are about school, like about like in my dream, like because the most horrible part is that all my dreams are like really realistic. They're like they're mundane. They're like normal everyday things, but then they're like anxiety inducing. Where like let's say there's an assignment that I turned in, but then apparently I didn't fill out any of the answers, and now I've got a 0 in my class, and I'm failing my class. Or like I'm missing, or it's like it's right on the deadline, and I didn't hear about an entire assignment, and I have to do it in less than like an hour. I mean, of course, these are things that have never happened, but
Yeah,
still, it's a lot of pressure, is what IB is, and there's a lot of pressure. You feel like you have to get everything right,
exactly.
but that's
And
not the case.
that is not the case. And honestly, remember that that four matters, but your mental health matters just as much. Don't be me. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm suicidal. But you know what? Getting a 4 in French is more important than, seeking help or taking a break that I need. And don't feel guilty for needing mental health breaks. Don't feel guilty for having such bad anxiety that you miss deadlines sometimes, because it's entirely valid. You are allowed to be struggling and you don't have to be perfect. And even though some of your classes might seem like they are just 100% doing everything perfectly, that doesn't invalidate you or make you less than them um if you're not getting everything right and you are actually struggling.
And take for example, a lot of people drop out of IB. It's a perfectly normal thing. How about for your senior year? How was it? And how
Ooh,
many
yeah,
people actually stayed?
we had like 120. We got 50% of the people actually stayed or less. We started like at 120 kids our freshman year, and only like 64 graduated. That's not counting the ones that actually got our diploma. But it's very much a thing of like, if you're not sure if you wanna, there's always the possibility of dropping down from diploma to certificate. That's not, you're not less than for doing certificate. And I had a friend, she dropped down from diploma to certificate because the sciences were just too much for her. And while doing a certificate program, she realized that it was just generally IB was too much for her. So she ended up just dropping out completely. And it's completely fine to do that. If you take a step back to say certificate and you realize this is still too much for me, then there's nothing wrong with just quitting IB altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
1 sec, I'm gonna be right back. My fan is really loud right now.
Sure.
I'm gonna go turn it off so it's not cutting into the audio. Be right back.
Okay, well, while he's gone, let's talk trash. Oh my god. But yeah, IB is an interesting little program, isn't it? It's like, I don't know, it's been such a roller coaster for me, just because there have been times I was like, okay, IB is actually fun. Like writing the papers, this is gonna sound so like dumb, but writing the papers is actually kind of fun, especially the EE, just because if you choose a topic that you like that you actually are passionate about, it can be so much fun to research that topic. But then there are those moments where it's like, oh my god, this class is too hard, like I can't do this anymore. It's IB's a roller coaster. Get ready to be emotionally crushed many times.
No, I absolutely agree with that. Like, honestly, I chose for my EE, I did an art EE where I was comparing two currently popular artists and analyzing their like backgrounds, their childhoods, where they went to art college and everything, and analyzing any similarities and trying to compare like, is the reason why some artists have similar lifestyles because like they have similar lives, like can you trace a pattern? And I actually emailed and reached out to one of the artists and I actually got an interview with him.
Ooh,
What?
this is so fun.
Yeah, so like those are little moments that, like I still remember, and the guy was really super nice, and that's like the little moments of IB that there's memories attached to IB that just make me so happy and make it worth it.
Yeah,
Maybe not
that's very.
worth it.
It's definitely a tight knit community, though. IB itself, like
Mhm.
with everybody, you tend like by your senior year, you basically know everybody.
I remember
Oh yeah, you
that
definitely had everybody in IB in one class. You
At
know,
least
like
one.
at least. Yeah.
something we actually talked about a lot our senior year. It was like, this was before COVID hit, of course, but we would talk about how like you could go to a school event and you might not have any of your friends there, and you would see another person that you know from IB, and you would just go to them, and you might not like constantly talk to them or be friends with them, but you guys would just there's that connection of like we're both in IB. I can be around you if I'm anxious to be around other people, even if we don't personally like hang out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true. Actually, that reminds me of this. During the honor, there was like an honors graduate like little ceremony. Marcelo, you were there.
Hey, I saw you.
I literally, yeah, I saw
I
you
didn't
towards the end of the
recognize you.
event.
Good
Yeah,
gosh. With the mask
but,
on, the spectacular makeup and dress, I didn't recognize
oh
you
my
at
God,
first.
thank you. You look so good too with your little black little moment. Okay. But anyways, I didn't have any of my friends there, so like I was just surrounded by people I didn't know. But there was like this one girl where we didn't know each other too much, but she dropped out of IB, but she was in IB at some point, so I was able to like kind of get closer and be like, oh, you were in IB, right? And then like we just started talking, and the rest of the night I just hung out with her, and it was really fun. And it's crazy how IB, like just the connection, having that connection of IB can, you can make so many friends just by being like, oh, you're an IB. Oh my God, we're both mentally unstable.
It's just that bond, that pain, that inner pain that like joins us all together.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how it is.
Honestly, when we went there and stuff, like I stood off to the side, just stood there, just hanging out, because like I was like, I'm not going near people. I'm just gonna stand here in the corner and I'm just gonna wait. And then they had us stand in a line for an hour, uncomfortably close to each other. And I'm like, why? Why did we come here an hour early just to stand here for an hour? And I got really frustrated about that. But I mean, I did at least see like one person I knew and talk to them. I saw Grace on the way out.
Grace
like
Phillips
Grace Phillips.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't heard from her in so long. Like,
Yeah.
because like I only recently got a phone back again. I had been grounded from my other phone for reasons I'm not going to specify for a year, and then as soon as I got it back, it broke. And then I had to buy a new phone, and I literally just this week got this thing up and running. Like, just definitely with COVID and stuff, it makes it a little bit more difficult to communicate with people without a phone.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been stuck to like email, Zoom chat, and like randomly during Zoom meetings saying hello to people, Discord. And like even then, like most people don't use Discord or anything. Most of my friends don't use it. So like, yeah.
I don't use Discord. I'm not very much a social person. I get scared about talking to people on the internet. And honestly, I've been thinking about using Discord, but I was like, I don't know, social anxiety.
I mean, like you only need to talk to the people who you know. You only just add the context that you know, and you're fine. I mean, I'm in a couple of different servers, but
yeah, I thought Discord was more about like kind of connecting with people on different kind of communities on the internet.
It kind of is, but like I only join a few communities like for memes, talking about computer hardware.
Of course.
And then like, yeah, okay, I'm a nerd. Computer assembly programming again. And then like I have a couple of channels that are only between friends.
Yeah, I have a lot of servers between me and friends, so
they only die within 3 months.
Actually, mine has been going strong for 6, I'll have you know.
Oh dang. All right, I see.
Yeah, yesterday we all got together and retook our Pottermore quizzes because we're all obsessed with Harry Potter. And
Oh my
I
god.
got my boyfriend, because he's a Slytherin, and he got Gryffindor.
Hey, I've taken it a few times, and every single time I've been Ravenclaw.
No, it's so funny. He was like, I'm not a Gryffindor. And then he retook it again. And he got Hufflepuff. He's like, what? And then he retook it again. And he got Ravenclaw. And he retook it again and finally
Oh
got
my
Slytherin. He
god.
went through every single house that afternoon. It was funny.
I guess he's just all of them. Jesus.
I
Yeah, I'm a Hufflepuff. Everyone hates Hufflepuffs, and I'm like, we have Cedric Diggory. Shut up.
everyone hates Hufflepuff. Remember that part where the writer wouldn't give the main Slytherin a redemption arc because he didn't deserve it, apparently, and how everyone, when you tell them I'm a Slytherin, they're like, you're evil. Yeah, everyone hates Hufflepuffs. Really? Are you sure about
They
that?
do. Oh my god. No, but people do have it. Okay, you know what? Hatred is between Hufflepuffs. No. People hate Hufflepuffs and Slytherins, and that's just a fact.
That's what every Slytherin has a pet Hufflepuff.
Do
I look like a pet?
Lindsay over there is like, I am taking this personally.
I mean a pet. I don't mean like a dog. I mean a pet as in the friend you protect because your Hufflepuff's scared.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. That is kind of true. I do have a few. My brother's actually a Slytherin too, and I don't know. I have other friends that are Slytherins, and I feel very much under their wings.
So you just said what I said.
I know, but you call me a pet.
Oh, what? You not protect your dog? I'm kidding. But that I mean
Wow.
pet in a charming way, not in a put down kind of way.
Okay. If you say so.
Lindsay is like, I don't know if I believe you.
I don't know if I buy it. I'm a little
Look, I've me and my friends every year we take the Pottermore quiz. We've taken it since I was 13. I'm 18 now. 5 years. Every year I get a Slytherin. So at this point, it's just Draco Malfoy move over. There's a new Princess Slytherin.
You're the Slytherin
Yes.
pure blood.
Oh my god.
Also, no, I don't mean to brag, but my Patronus is actually a hippogriff. So
That's so lucky. I forgot what mine was. I don't know if it was a cat or something lame like that. But that's really impressive. Must be nice. Oh my god.
the first time I got a Patronus, it was a black mamba. So I was like, wow, all the snake ideology, huh?
Every time I hear Black Mamba, all I think of is that one scene from Megamind.
Yes.
No.
All right, back to Ivy.
Yes, back to Ivy, where you just went a little bit Harry Potter there. So yeah,
IB?
Ivy.
What else is there to talk about in IB? I feel like
How hard are cast hours?
how was your
What?
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
I'll ask my question after him.
The cast hours weren't that hard for me. They weren't that hard for me because I already do a lot of like things. Like I started an entire club out of order while I was in Klein Oak. So honestly, the cast hours aren't just like anything in IB. Here's the tea. Anything in IB is not hard if you time manage. If you don't know how to time management, it'll make it way harder than it needs to be. And honestly, the biggest thing is just learn to time manage and do a little bit every day instead of like having big chunks of work every once in a while, because then it makes it really easy. Like personally, I had like 200 cast hours. I had way more than we needed by the time I turned in my cast stuff. And I did a variety of different things. Like I started an art YouTube channel as a cast activity. I just cast hour is actually really fun if you find ways to incorporate the things you like into cast.
Well, that's what this podcast is.
Yeah.
That's my way. That's my way of incorporating it. Honestly, I've been having a lot of trouble with cast with COVID coming down. It makes things a little bit more a little bit more difficult because
No,
we're still
I'm sure.
expected to get the same number of hours and in the similar categories as well.
No, yeah, that I absolutely agree. That would be way more difficult because at least the community hours where you give back to the community are kind of hard when you are supposed to be quarantining.
And then
Yeah.
like the thing is even like going, but then the thing is they're like, oh, you can still do it virtually, but then it's like, well, everybody else is trying to do it, and there's only so many activities you can pick up virtually before everybody is taking it up, and there's not
Yeah.
really that many opportunities open. And then I remember in one of the meetings we asked, they were like, oh, you like actually I emailed them directly, right, and I was like, how am I going to get service done? Because I'm not going to go in person. They're like, oh, you can still go in person. Just go with a mask or something. And then I'm like, but that's what I'm trying to avoid. You can still get sick even if you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it depends on the other people who are there. Like if any of them take off a mask or even if they're sick, there's still the possibility you could get sick. And shouldn't the program, one that's so internationally focused, be a little bit more understanding of that?
Yeah. No, I agree
Because
with
this
that. That's
is
a big
literally a global issue.
yeah.
One of the
That
things we,
that's a bit yucky. I'm sorry.
um, but yeah, and then like honestly, it's really frustrating because it's just like how it's really frustrating trying to get hours now because it's like it's stuck to pretty much
Yeah.
all online. There's only so much you can do. And I think the only leniency that they've had with us is like saying in very, very selective activities, they've said, oh, you can use a parent
Yeah.
as your coordinator. And then it's
Wait,
like,
Arthur, didn't you do your last like half one semester for under like Corona times
Yes, I
too?
did my second semester. At that point, I already had like all my 150 hours. So like
Mhm.
I was just getting more hours to diversify. So I had already gotten all my service hours out of the way, but I did do a service thing. Like I started a club called Out of Order that helps kids with anxiety learn social skills. Um, and so I that was my biggest service thing was like the meetings and the planning, the making PowerPoints for the club.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we can start clubs right now, but that is a good way to get cast hours. But how was your senior year like, or I guess your second semester under quarantine? Like, was it harder
It,
for
it
you
was
or?
it wasn't harder. It was just more honestly, if anything, it was a bit easier, but it was just more like it was kind of depressing because I there were so many things I was looking forward like right after right after spring break when it's where our high school started quarantining and everything. I was supposed to have my art exhibit for my art exam, and that was supposed to be in the library, and all my friends were gonna like come go see my art for my art exhibit. And I also had Texas Stretch and Posting that
Oh,
like weekend, and it was my last year in high school, so it was my last
yeah.
symposium. And I had like so many art events, and I had been working so hard because I wanted to get on the top 10 at symposium, but I never got the chance to like do that. And it was
Yeah.
just a lot of things that I had been looking forward to, that I was really looking forward to, like even the exams, like even the idea of like all those other seniors were like, ah, yeah, you see each other in the hallways after the exams, and you like finger gun and cry a little. Like I was like me and my friends were already like planning like study sessions together for IB exams. We're like, oh, I'll walk you to this exam because we have these exams together. All those little things that I had been really looking forward to for like 3 years just suddenly got snatched up from me like at the last minute, and we didn't even get a graduation. So it just
Oh yeah.
it felt very disheartening. It just sort of felt like every expectation I had was like taken from me, and I got nothing in return. So it just took depressing is the best word I can use to describe my last semester of high school.
I mean, I really feel
Yeah.
that because like one of my best friends, my best friend Julie and I, we sort of started like a little tradition of like at the end of the year, right after finals or right during finals week, on a day we didn't have it, we would actually go to IHOP, right? And we were planning on doing it last year, and then Corona came down, and then we never actually managed to go. And then we wanted to go and like later on in the summer, but then again, we still couldn't go in or anything. And we're gonna try and do it this year though, but we're still gonna have to just see about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually lucky this year because we are actually going to have a graduation, but obviously, social distance and everything. And we're
No,
actually going to have
if the
prom too.
if the honors graduation ceremony with with us sitting so close to each other still, like even that we were only every other seat that wasn't 6 feet apart. And
Yeah,
when we were lined up, that definitely wasn't 6 feet apart, considering I could put my hand on someone's shoulder.
yeah, but
Um,
hopefully by May, they said that at least 85% of the people will be vaccinated. So at least like there's that, but
but
really
even then,
say,
that may not even that still isn't quite enough, because what the CDC is saying is just because people are getting vaccinated, we can't
yeah.
relax it, because it's in those moments with pandemics that causes them to skyrocket.
Mhm.
Because people begin to relax. And that's actually what we're beginning to see now. Because the vaccine came out, people are like, oh, we can go out and stuff. I legit saw behind, near my neighborhood, behind one of the stores, there's there's a crap load of people. They were just everywhere. They were very, very close to each other. No one was wearing masks at
Oh
all.
yeah,
They're
definitely
having
now
like,
that we don't have like the mask mandate or anything, and since everything's open at like full capacity, people are
Yeah.
definitely gonna start not wearing masks.
and
It
honestly,
sucks.
like I want to get the vaccine because for work, I moved to doing dishwasher. I used to be a runner.
Mhm.
Um, but what's really frustrating is the hours for dishwasher. Even though I get paid more, I get less hours, which makes it to where I'm earning uh, barely even half of what I used to.
Oh.
I'm like just about half, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little less, because it depends on tips. Because we have
Mhm.
less people, there's less tips coming in, which means that my pay is cutting even lower.
Yeah.
Um, but at the moment, the only way that I can actually get the hours that I need, especially from going to college, even though I have a lot of finances covered already, I still don't want to go in with like nothing. I'm going to be moving out quite far, no matter where I go. So it's like I kind of need money, and
Yeah.
the only thing that'll get me enough money to at least be somewhat in a good place would be going back to being a runner, or being a busser, or
Mhm.
something like that. And the thing is, it's still like whenever you sit, it's not that I'm worried about necessarily like my coworkers, because my coworkers definitely wear their masks. The thing I'm most worried about are the people sitting at the tables, because they have to wear their mask when they come in, but then they don't have to wear their mask when they're sitting down. And I'm wearing a mask. But the thing is I can't trust that those people have been wearing their masks outside of the restaurant. Even though they're required to wear it whenever walking in, I can't trust that they have been whenever they're outside and in other places.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what pulling the mask mandate has done. It's basically putting me in a position where where if I were to get more money, so I can actually secure my college future, would put my health in danger, and as well as my family, because I'm not the only one who lives in my household.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like I can permanently quarantine myself unless I want to live in a garage. I'll have to share the space with whatever else is in there. It's a garage, all right. It's got holes. My garage has holes in the side of it. So not one of the corners is rusted, so there's like a hole. So not exactly the best place, but
Yeah.
but still, it's like
You could pull a Harry Potter quarantine in your closet.
yay. There is a closet underneath my staircase, but it's full of stuff. And the transition between it and so it's like in between, like it's underneath the stairs, but it's in like a tiny hallway right in front of the downstairs restroom. But like the door, in between the door and the tile, right? So it's carpet on the inside, it's tile on the outside, but right in between, there's just several nails pointing straight up. They're all rusted, and they're just all sitting there
God.
because apparently, I guess there used to be something on top, like one of those like little wooden pieces transitioning between them, but it got ripped up before we moved in. And so there's literally just nails pointing up.
Definitely not safe.
No, that's why no one's allowed to go in the closet.
Oh my god. Man, this whole just pandemic has really derailed lives, man. I mean, I feel so bad for the seniors last year because y'all really went through, like, y'all really just got stripped from everything without even with just so quickly without even being able to process all of it. It just was like, poop, you can't do anything anymore.
One moment it was like spring break, and then next it's like, hey, we're online for the rest of the semester.
Oh my God, like whenever we went to the honors ceremony, that was the first time I stepped foot in the school for a year.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I know I had to step into school for like other reasons, like getting club stuff because clubs are so.
I never got the bio book.
Why did you get the bio book while you were in the
Jay gave me they gave me a PDF copy, so I didn't need to.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was nice. I don't have to go in. Because when Miss Fabian was like, oh, come in and get it, I'm like, do I really want to go in though? I actually live kind of far. I live right next to Klein High. Klein Oak is not that close.
Yeah. And Klein Oak has had a lot of cases.
They haven't been saying it, but they have been having a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty Utah, so not surprised.
I've noticed a lot of kids have been leaving to online though. Because I noticed whenever the pandemic first came down and it was the new year and stuff, there were maybe 10 people in a classroom, but now there's 3.
Yeah. I'm glad that people were starting to take it seriously a little bit, but.
And I think that's what's helping our cases go down. Our cases aren't that bad, and I think the reason is because people keep dropping out to online. It's no, we're not going to stick around for this. And I think that's where the overwhelming majority of people have voted to not take the exams, because the exams would require us to be in person. And at the very least, we can be confident in our own internal assessments.
Yeah, that's very true. I at first wasn't even sure because I was looking at this at the standpoint of maybe taking the exams would be the best, at least for my situation, just because obviously the internal assessments, especially my science one, I was I don't know if it's going to be the best just because I'm not a science person. And I feel I would probably do better on the test, but at the same time, it's COVID, going in person with that many, it's 60 kids walking around the halls, and then plus the other kids that are going to Klein Oak already.
And I know that some IB students don't wear masks or adhere to the. I didn't
know that. Spill the tea, Marcel.
Oh no, I'm not going to be specific, but I know that there are some students who don't wear the masks and do not adhere to social distancing. So that's definitely a worry, And plus, you never know. Even if you do adhere to everything, and let's say you just have to go out to the store sometime and you adhere to all the standards and everything, there's still a chance you could get sick.
Yeah.
And you could just be asymptomatic. That's the most worrying thing.
Even staying at home, just going outside for a moment to probably take out your trash or something, the air just COVID.
I mean, the likelihood of that happening is so low. I actually had a coworker believe that they were immune to COVID because they went out, quote unquote, went out running all the time without a mask on. And I'm like, there's so much air in the atmosphere that the chances of you getting sick from one wayward virus, coronavirus, is so freakishly low that you're more likely to get hit by a freaking meteor than catch it.
Oh my God.
Which actually, fun fact, did you know that it's constantly raining viruses all the time? It's just a viral rain. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. It's just constantly raining viruses. The viruses outnumber all living organisms in biomass by I forget how much, but it's quite a bit.
Wow, oh my God.
Yeah, I do know that because I'm taking an oceanology class right now, so.
Yeah, and there's so many in the water. Actually, personally, I find it crazy that just now that they're finding the Pandora viruses, which are just and they're mainly in the ocean, they're just so enormous that they were originally mistaken for bacteria. So definitely very fun.
Jesus.
Actually,
yeah.
originally I wanted to go into virology before I decided on cybersecurity. So
I see. I see. So I don't mean to be a rude guest, but we've been here for a bit, and
Yeah.
Hispanic parents knocked on my door like 30 minutes ago for me to go eat dinner.
Oh.
So any other questions I can like answer for you guys before I disappear?
I think we're good. Unless do you have any projects that maybe you want to shout out? I don't know if you're still doing your YouTube channel. I know you're doing
I'm
that.
not. Please don't look through my YouTube channel. You don't know. You don't. Yeah. Do follow my art Instagram though at artful
All right,
Artie.
we'll link that down because we finally have an Instagram for LVC. I finally
Yeah.
have an Instagram account just to link up to that.
Yeah, if you want, you can send me the and then we can post your little thing on the description and stuff like that.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Hey, we
having
got a
me.
bunch of followers for LVC. I didn't see like I noticed how many we actually have on Instagram, and I was like, what?
I think we only have like 30 something right now.
That's more than we have subscribers on YouTube. So
Oh yeah, that is true. That is
we have
true.
8 on YouTube, and like if I'm looking now, man, a lot of people are like following me now since I followed LV, like I'm linked in LVC. Where the heck is it? Following LVC. We got 36 followers.
Yeah. Well, guys, follow us on Instagram at LVC_podcast.
Yeah.
And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for coming to
Buy our merch.
All
buy
right,
our merch at
buy our merch. It's discounted at like negative 15%.
literally. So be sure to check that out, guys. Thank you for coming next week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
All right, I'm gonna end this before it gets any cringier. Adios.